Hi guys, so this video will help us out with our homework assignment, the ins and outs of functions, which will be due this Monday, what day is that? August 4th. So what we're going to do is we're going to talk about each question, and hopefully this will give you a good idea as to how to get started with this. So the first question says, a car wash company charges $5 for one car wash, $8 for two car washes, and $11 for three car washes. And the first thing we have to do is figure out which variable represents the input and which variable represents the output. So I see two variables in this situation. I see the amount charged, this one, and the number of cars. So which is the input and which is the output? We don't know. But one question we can ask ourselves is, which one is dependent on the other one? Is the number of cars dependent on the amount charged, or is it the other way around? Is the amount charged dependent upon the number of cars? And I think that one that I just said makes a little more sense. So in other words, depending on how many cars I have, that will determine what my amount charged is. Okay? So that would make this the input, and this the output. The output is always the dependent variable. It's the one that's dependent on the other one, and that would make sense here. The amount charged is dependent on the number of cars. So that's those two answers. Now the next questions ask you to actually compute some inputs and outputs. They say, what is the price, and then in parentheses 2. So we're given, because that 2 is inside the parentheses, that means that the 2 represents our input. So what is the price when the input, or the number of cars, is 2? And I'll let you answer that question. Part E, it's just an opposite question. For what value of x is the price of x equal to 11? So you're given the output in this case. You're given the amount charged, which is $11. And for what value of cars will give you that $11. So you guys should be able to answer that one. On number 2, you're given a graph. And remember, on a graph, let me just erase real quick. On a graph, the horizontal axis, or our x-axis, is our inputs, and our y-axis, I'm not doing a good job at writing upside down today, is our output axis. So we've got inputs, or ins on the x, and outs on the y, okay? So which variable represents our input? Well, we kind of just answered that. It would be x. And which represents our output? Well, we just answered that. It'll be y, okay? What is y sub 1? So in other words, what is the output when the input is 1, because the 1 is inside the parentheses? So you guys would just need to go to the graph and say, hey, what output is the input? In other words, where is the graph when the input is 1? And you should be able to answer that from the graph. And then you'll do the same thing for the next question. Where is the output when the input is 2? Okay? So E and F, you're doing the exact same thing, except now you're given the output. What is the input when the output is -1? So you'll have to look at the graph and determine that. And what is the output, or what is the input when the output is 3.5? So you have to go up to about 3.5 and then look at where the graph is along the x-axis. Okay? So that's that one. Number 3 should be really straightforward. It should be simple because it's just a simple table, and it's almost identical to number 1. And then number 4, you're doing the exact same thing but with an equation, okay? Yeah, like we did in class. So hopefully that helps. Let me know if you have any questions. Feel free to email me, and I hope you guys have a good weekend. Thank you.